Imagine if you had a magic button that could swap certain wrestlers from AEW to WWE or WWE to AEW. Well, on today's video, myself and Santi Zap choose 4 wrestlers from each promotion that we would swap to the other. Who will those names be? Find out now. Hey there, everyone. It's time to jump right into the video. But before we get to our picks of who we're going to have from AEW over to WWE and from WWE to AEW, if we had that magic button, we got Santi Zap here. Santi, this is our first collaboration and our first time meeting each other.
Yes, it is. Hopefully it's the first of many. I'm so excited to get going on this. I maybe put too much thought into this.
But that's good.
I'm almost like I somehow feel like I need to win, even though there isn't a win parameter.
Well, how about this? We'll let the people in the comments decide who won with their best picks. Okay, this is now a competition.
Love
you
it.
know what that means now, Santi? I got my cannons out. I got my war tank out. Here we go.
Let's
So,
go.
I'm excited to do this because I feel like as wrestling fans, we're always trying to be like, oh, if that person was here, we're always fantasy booking. It's like our thing. So in this video, we're just very lucky and we got a magic button and we're just going to make it all happen. So I want to get started with 4 names from AEW to WWE, those names that you would just magically swap over to the other company and why. And Santi, because you are a guest here, I'm going to allow you to go first.
Fantastic. And we did pull out our whiteboards here to make sure that it was super official because, if it's not on a whiteboard, did it even really happen? Denise, I'm taking a guy back to the WWE. We're taking Keith Lee from AEW back to the WWE. Shockingly, I believe that we have more evidence that Keith Lee will be used better in WWE than in AEW. We just aren't seeing enough of him in AEW. I know there's a lot of start-stop with injuries and whatnot, but I feel like the best era of Keith Lee was shockingly under the WWE banner. And now with Triple H at the helm, I cannot wait to see what they could do with somebody like Keith Lee.
My favorite thing about Keith Lee was when he was on NXT. NXT Keith Lee was the best. NXT on Raw with the little at the beginning of his intro, that was not it.
Bearcat didn't do it for you?
No, not at all. Because I just imagine Vince McMahon being like, do the roar, damn it, do the roar. That's like this vision I have of in my mind about that. But Keith Lee needs to have that match with Swerve. It needs to happen before he goes over to WWE.
I agree. But think of what we can do now with him in WWE, the main roster. His best adversary from NXT Black and Gold is now on the main roster with Dijak. We could run that back. And there is just a countless amount of people that he could have fantastic matches with. I immediately think of people like Carmelo Hayes. It could be somebody that could give Keith Lee a fantastic match. Just the dream matches that could happen in this modern day of WWE are too mouthwatering.
I am going with Ricky Starks to WWE. And I think everybody here knows why. If you've ever seen his work in AEW, not only is he a very entertaining wrestler, but he is just an entertaining person. I mean, I have been wishing that AEW would push him more because all of the times that we've seen him on the microphone, the little mini feud that he had with MJF, the feud that unfortunately got cut a little bit abrupt with him and CM Punk, the match that he had with Bryan Danielson, the 2 matches that he had with Bryan Danielson, I just feel like Ricky Starks is the man. Like, I can see this guy really winning over WWE fans, especially for those that haven't seen him just yet.
I love it. Actually, he's one of my top 4 picks, so I'm removing him from my list. You stole him from me, but I think he's a perfect addition to the WWE. My question to you is, NXT or main roster? Where are we putting Ricky Starks?
Main roster all the way. And you know what? I have a hot take.
Tell me.
Want a hot take? Here we go. You guys can argue about this in the comments. My hot take is Ricky Starks would be more over than LA Knight.
Ooh.
That's my hot take.
We got to put those 2 together in a feud too, though. That would feed families across the galaxies for generations.
Damn right. So.
All right, my turn?
Yes.
All right. As a Latino man, I've been loving the representation in the WWE these days with the LWO, with the Legado del Fantasma. So let's add to that representation to somebody that I still think is underutilized in AEW. Let's bring Roosh over from AEW
Ooh.
to the WWE, bringing that hard-hitting Mexican style to WWE. I would love to see amazing matches between him, members of Legado del Fantasma. I can already imagine some bangers with Andrade, Rey Mysterio, his brother, Dragon Lee. Give me Roosh. I feel like I might have been able to get him in the 4th round, but I want to make sure I got him.
So, Santi, I'm not completely sold on this one. And you want to know why?
Tell me.
Because WWE has a long history of not really pushing their Latino wrestlers or kind of giving them these like really silly gimmicks as we've seen in the past. And so part of me is looking at this and going like, oh man, as much as I would love to see Roosh feud with all those people, but I would love to see him on WrestleMania, and he has the charisma to take him there and the aggressiveness, because
the aggressiveness for
when
sure.
he comes at you, I'm like, oh, like I'm messing with this guy. Like Roosh is freaking awesome, but I fear that WWE wouldn't know exactly how to present Roosh. And even though AEW is moving at a snail's pace presenting Roosh that way, I do think that they would be closer at hitting that mark than WWE right now.
I actually do think that's fair, especially if you use the last 10 years of historical evidence with the WWE. I feel a little bit more optimistic about their treatment of somebody like Roosh with what we've seen over the last year and a bit. When we see the members of, look at Damian Priest, Dominic Mysterio, Legado del Fantasma, LWO. I get it. I get where you're coming from. I get the hesitation. But I do think that we've got some recent evidence to tell me that I think that he would be used pretty well in today's WWE.
All right, but my follow-up question before we move on. Santi, you said you're Latino. What are you?
I'm from Colombia.
Oh, I love it. I love it. More Latinos in the wrestling medium space. For those of you who don't know, I'm Mexican, so I love this. All right, perfect. All right. My next one from AEW to WWE is none other than Wardlow. You knew I had to.
I had him.
You had to have him, right?
Yeah, I did.
Because, and everyone here watching this, I feel is going like, like nodding their head a little bit. I hate to say it, but I just have not been a fan of the recent iteration of Wardlow on AEW ever since he stopped feuding with MJF. Like the peak for him was that Double or Nothing. You know, the one where MJF got in the plane. No, he didn't get on the plane. Yes, he did get on the plane. That whole big weekend. That was the last time that Wardlow was really at the mountain peak in AEW. And since then, it just has not been really hitting. But when you look at this man, he's got such a great freaking look. And WWE loves guys that look like Wardlow. Absolutely. And, he's a great looking guy. He's got a great physique. Now I'm out here, practically selling Wardlow to people. But, he really is this, he's money, but I don't think that he fits into AEW. I think he would fit in a lot more on WWE TV.
He has that larger than life feel that I think works really, really well in the world of the WWE. I think what hurt him a lot in AEW was just a lot of the start-stop booking with the TNT title. Do you remember that? Where he would win it, he would lose it. He'd come back, win it, he would lose it. It just got a little bit too ridiculous. And it's such a shame because he is such an athletic monster. He brings such a unique repertoire of strength and agility that should have him in the main event. Like, to me, it's an obvious choice. I think that's a good one.
Yeah, and for me, like you mentioned, the stop and start go of him chasing the title. For me, the thing that just like lost me was the copy and paste matches where we always just saw him do the exact same thing with Powerbomb Symphony. And I'm like, I'm done with that. I can't anymore. And it just doesn't fit in that much in AEW. So, it is what it is. All right, but your third name now?
Yes,
name, right?
yes, we are on my third name. I felt like it was cheating to try and take an entire tag team or faction, but there's one particular guy that I'd like to steal away, not just from AEW, but from the House of Black. I'd love to see Brody King and what this man can do in the WWE. In an era of meat, Denise, meat. This guy would put on fantastic matches in the meat division of the WWE with the likes of Bronson Reed, Ivar. I'd love to see him with somebody like Gunther in the ring, Sheamus. He just has the perfect moveset and body type to flourish right now in that division of the WWE as a single superstar. I would gush at the idea of seeing Brody King in the ring.
You know what? I don't hate that idea. I think Brody King would be pretty freaking cool in WWE. And then on top of that, like especially coming off of like right now, we're just doing this video. We just saw him wrestle Adam Copeland a couple days ago on Dynamite, and I thought that match was phenomenal. So it's almost like Brody King is that guy in AEW that you sort of always forget can deliver, and then whenever he's in these big matches, he ends up delivering. So for me, I can't disagree. I think Brody King is actually a pretty unique pick. I thought you were going to go with Malachi Black again. And I'm like, oh, he's going to take him back to WWE.
I can't be taking all their best stuff. I can't be taking all their best stuff. Also, I forgot, I do still have the whiteboard. Brody King.
Brody King, there it is, guys. For the visual learners.
Yes.
All right. My turn. We're with the bees, so I'll stick with the bees. I'm going to go with Big Bill.
Nice.
And I think a lot of people also know why I'm choosing Big Bill over
Large
WWE.
William?
Yes, Large William. That's his government's name, Large William. Dude, oh my God, the guy is huge.
Yeah.
What can I say? The guy is huge. He's talented. I actually preferred his work that he did in TNA over what we're seeing right now in AEW with the Learning Tree. It's not good. So for that reason, I'm going with Big Bill purely based on size and the fact that he's a big guy that's not a stiff. How many big guys don't we know that just literally move like this? That's not Big Bill. And so for that reason, I think Big Bill has all the tools to literally be on a WrestleMania card, to be out there working with, some of the best. So I'm going to say Big Bill to WWE.
Somehow he went from big to humongous in AEW. The man put on some size. Like, he is so muscular, so big, so fast. He moves freaky fast. He reminds me of like a battle tank. Like, you just don't expect somebody of his size to be able to move the way that he does. And I'd definitely be interested in seeing what he would look like as a single superstar in the WWE, because we got it a little bit, but it was a lot of start-stop with those knee injuries that I think he seems to be over in recent years.
Yeah, and he's been through a lot. Like you just mentioned the injury portion, but he's had like a very, he's gone through a lot of dark stuff, which he's been very open about on press conferences and stuff. And he's really changed his life. So, man, you got to applaud that. So,
Yes.
A Big Bill it is. All right. Your fourth and final pick.
Look, I know that I'm going to make this pick and people in the comments are going to be like, Santi fumbled. How could you take this guy? Listen, I've got other names on here. But when I look at, like, I could take Penta. We could do some fun stuff there. Hook is an obvious one. I could take, Chris Statlander would fit really, really well.
Check this out. I was almost going to go with Hook.
Fair enough.
And
Listen,
I crumbled up the paper.
You just need to think of the comedy that would happen if we got Danhausen.
Okay, I thought about him. He crossed my mind. I get your vision.
Think of R-Truth thinking that he's Sting. How that would just be so good. The comedy writes itself. And I personally believe that WWE has been better at booking these comedy characters than AEW has. And he just fits so well in that goofy locker room that the WWE can have. I think it's a ridiculous choice, but if it wasn't Danhausen, if I'm being honest with you, I might have taken Hikaru Shida in this scenario, just to really see who's got the better X-Men themed entrance theme between her and Jade Cargill.
Oh my God. Okay, so first of all, you mentioned Danhausen and R-Truth. That nearly knocked me out. But even just thinking above that, I'm also thinking Akira Tozawa. Can you imagine both of them doing their little dance that they do?
Oh, it'd just be so good. There's so many hilarious opportunities with somebody like Danhausen. And the best part about Danhausen, and I think it's what works really well with R-Truth, is that Danhausen can bring that levity, that comedy, even when he's surrounded by the serious. Think about R-Truth and his time with Judgment Day, how gold that was. I think they can do that with somebody like Danhausen with, who knows, maybe the Bloodline's a stretch, but come on.
Oh my God.
That would be hilarious.
Danhausen just like chasing around, trying to curse Solo, and he just gets a Samoan spike or something crazy like that. Oh my God. Yeah, you're right. Danhausen in WWE would be comedy. All right, so this next one, the AEW fans are going to be like, Denise, how could you? How could you? This one surprised even me. And this is not somebody that I would say needs to go to WWE. This is just a person that I personally am curious to see what he would look like in WWE. And I
Okay.
say this because I think this guy against Seth Rollins, against all of these people, just really fits in at the main event world of WWE. And even though I want this person, I wish this person could be in both companies, I would love to see this Hangman Adam Page.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you're going to have the AEW elitas coming after you. You're going to take one of their golden boys. I purposely tried to not take those golden boys. I was like, I'm staying away from those.
This is a testament. This is a testament to Hangman Page because everybody knows how awesome he is.
Yes.
Awesome. And for that reason, I want to see what a Hangman Page would look like on WrestleMania. I want to see him in these programs with Seth, with Drew McIntyre, with Roman Reigns, with Cody Rhodes, with all of these people. I mean, obviously Cody was in AEW and that's, that's that. But you know what I'm saying? In this new world of WWE. Yeah. And so for that reason, even though I think he still belongs in AEW, I still am curious to see what he would do in WWE.
Denise.
I know.
Denise.
Ooh.
Do you think that he's reached his peak in AEW? Has he reached the ceiling?
No, I don't think so. I think if anything, coming off of that feud with Swerve Strickland, because that was like literally everyone's like favorite feud in AEW, or a good majority of fans for this last year, and they had all of these incredible matches. I really think that feud with Swerve Strickland really showed how above Hangman Page is, because he took these losses and he didn't lose anything from taking these losses, and he helped elevate Swerve Strickland. And I feel like there's this new added intrigue now in Hangman Page. Like when Hangman Page comes back, like I want to see him return with the Elite again. I want to see heel Hangman Page again. And so I don't think he's hit his peak. I still think that there's so much more, especially when you're bringing in all of these new guys. We just got Will Ospreay, you just got Kazuchika Okada. Like you have so many different things you can play with on the roster. So because of all of those new faces, I feel like there could still be a lot of fresh matchups there for Hangman Page. But of course, he's a former AEW world champion. He's been at that mountaintop, had a phenomenal feud with Kenny Omega. But I do think that, he's just that person that I want to see wrestle everybody.
I like it. I'm noticing that out of the four on each side, sorry to maybe put you on the spot, I mentioned Hikaru Shida as one of the women that I would take. Are there any women on the AEW roster that you think could benefit from a facelift over in WWE?
I have no women that I would send right now to WWE. And I was thinking about that too, because I actually have a woman on our next side of things, and it's one in specific. But when you mentioned Shida, though, I knew exactly why you went with Shida, because I think Shida is AEW's one of their best workers.
Yes.
And because of that, like she would just go out there and have like these crazy, insane good matches. I'm trying to think if there's anybody that I think would fit in better. No, I feel like everybody that they have right now really fits into AEW. Well, Mercedes, of course, she still hasn't found the AEW version of Mercedes. She's still the WWE version of Mercedes in AEW. So I would like to see her find her AEW version. So she still fits in more with WWE, but I wouldn't send her back right now just because she hasn't been able to. She just got started. She just got started,
Absolutely. Fair enough. Just wanted to check because, Hikaru Shida is the one that stood out to me.
All righty, so let's go ahead and now reverse this from WWE to AEW. Santi, you go first.
Oh, do I get first pick again?
You're a guest. You're a guest in this YouTube channel house.
Love it. I am taking a man that I do believe has reached a ceiling in WWE that I think he could pierce through that ceiling in AEW. Former world champion in the WWE, and brings a level of offense and body type that I do think is missing in the main event scene of AEW. I think he would be I think he would shake up the system quite a bit there. I'm taking Braun Strowman. Who did you think I was taking?
I almost thought you were going with my first pick, so continue on.
Okay, I'm taking Braun Strowman. I took away Brody King, so I bet you take a pound of meat, you replace it with a different slab of meat, and I'm giving them back Braun Strowman. I think that Braun Strowman in that main event scene of AEW brings a really unique change of pace to the super fast-paced technical wrestling that AEW has become really, really, really famous for. I think that Braun Strowman would not necessarily put a halt to it, but force the main event scene to evolve and find a different style of offense to work against somebody like a Braun Strowman.
See, I get your point. I would not want to see Braun Strowman in AEW. And the reason
Okay.
I say this is I just don't think that he can I don't think he can hang, you know? Yeah, I don't think he can
Ooh,
hang.
would
Sorry.
you ever tell
Another
him
hot
that to
take.
his face?
Hell no, because it's
Hell
like I wouldn't tell
no.
him about the nose piercing. It's gotta go. I can't be the only one who thinks that.
um, so I like to me, I also just feel like what he could accomplish in the WWE has happened. I don't
Yes.
see him right now or in the future regaining a world championship with just how jam-packed the main event scene is across Monday Night Raw and Friday Night SmackDown. I don't see him getting there anymore. So I think a
But I don't
change
see
of
him
scenery
getting
for
there
him.
in AEW though. I don't see him becoming AEW world champion.
No, I don't necessarily see him becoming world champion, but I do see a world where he could be part of that ecosystem, the main event ecosystem, and give us a unique style of match that we haven't quite seen. It's like I'd love to see Big Bill be more involved in the main event scene, but they seem a little bit trepidatious of actually involving somebody with the big guy moveset in that main event scene. I think maybe Braun Strowman could give Tony Khan a bit more confidence in putting a big guy in that main event scene.
All right, I gotta say we're very different, Santi. Very
Mm,
different. I thought we would clash more on some of these picks, but this next one, I think it's gonna hurt a lot of people. They're gonna be like, "Hell no, Denise, we don't want him to leave WWE." But you know what?
do I
This
have him?
man, I don't know. I almost thought you were going with him, to be honest, because when
Okay.
you said that he's sort of done all that he can do in WWE, I thought of this person, and I just think that this person comes with a lot of respect from wrestling fans across the world. He can go. And I think he would add so freaking much to AEW. Instant main eventer, instant phenomenal matches with so many people, and that is Kevin Owens.
Oh, that is not who I thought you were taking because I have somebody that meets that exact description of what you just said. I just had the exact same feeling you had as I was describing Braun Strowman.
Kevin Owens to me is like he's gold, man, and he's like one of the most relatable people ever.
Yes.
Ever. Like all the guys can relate to Kevin Owens for the most part, I feel. And so that's why I think Kevin Owens in AEW would be freaking money. Like I would grab him so fast. You know, like that's my guy. I love Kevin Owens. And I just think of all of these matches that he can be having with people. Oh my God.
Yeah.
It's
No,
endless. It's endless.
he fits that locker room really, really well with the style of wrestling that he brings. And I like what you mentioned about his relatability because it's almost breaking the fourth wall, but not really. You know, it's still the Kevin Owens character, but I almost feel like he's saying the thing that the people sitting on the couch at home are thinking, which
Yes.
which I
All the
really
time.
think,
All the time.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I
Who
feel
would you
you.
have him feud against first?
Oh my gosh. Selfishly, Will Ospreay.
Oh, that is selfish.
MJF. Can you imagine MJF being like, you know, heel MJF, right? Like being a
Yeah.
jerk, doing his MJF shit, like doing the things that he says on the mic. And Kevin Owens, he's not one to step down. He's not one to cower and hide away in these promos. No, Kevin Owens will come at you with, again, what the people at home are thinking.
Yes, yes, yes. I'm with you there. I like the pick, and I thought you were describing the guy that I have in my next pick.
Actually, I think I know who you're going with next.
Do you? Do you really? All right, let's see, because maybe we're gonna pull another fast one on each other. Okay, my guy is a former world champion that also I feel has reached a peak in the WWE, has done it all across NXT, the main roster, and it just doesn't
Okay,
feel
you're
like
not picking who I'm
no,
thinking.
okay.
No.
It just doesn't quite feel like he, at the very least, from a fan point of view, it doesn't feel like he's quite involved in the long-term scene of the main event for the WWE. Meanwhile, I feel that not only can this guy hang in the main event scene of AEW, but he also brings a legacy with him that fits really, really well with the narrative of the Elite and the Bullet Club. Give me Finn Balor, the Prince, going to
Woo!
AEW.
So I will tell you this. Finn, I was gonna add him to my list, but then I had a feeling I'm like, there's no way that Santi's not gonna pick Finn Balor because he is 100% everything you said. Someone that most definitely would be insane in AEW, and
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure AEW would freaking love to have Finn Balor. And all of a sudden, you can reignite all these storylines. You can put all these great stories together, these great feuds, these great matches. Someone who can still go. As a matter of fact, I don't feel that we've seen Finn Balor really go the way that I think WWE still kind of holds him back just a tad. Like we've
Yeah.
seen shades of it with him, and most recently his feud with that he had with Seth Rollins. But that's sort of been like the last time that we really saw Finn Balor legitimately go. I feel like there's been sort of this. I feel like he's been held back a little bit in terms
Yeah.
of in ring wise.
It does feel like he's being throttled, that he's only able to go or allowed to go at like 70%, when we know that that extra 30, that's when he gets nasty. And that's when his matches go from, being 3.5 to potential 5-star matches. And I do believe that just like how they did with Bryan Danielson, they could unlock that extra potential that WWE is holding back with somebody like Prince Devitt. I guess we'd have to go back to that name.
Oh, I love it. I love it. All right. Well, great pick.
Thank
My
you.
next one falls, I think, around the same category. Again, another person with a lot of respect
Okay.
that has done a lot in WWE. Uh, let me just say it. AJ
I
Styles.
had him. No, that was my next pick.
I was afraid you were going to go with him next. And that's
Why did I
thought
take
you were
Braun
gonna go.
Strowman first? I could have gotten Braun on the 4th pick.
Yeah, I was not going to pick Braun Strowman. It's AJ for me because I mean, shit, man. First of all, when he now that he's he came back, he's gotten so much bulkier,
Yeah.
and he still proved that no matter what is he like 46, 47, I forget how old he is exactly, but he can still freaking go. I mean, look at the match that he just had with Cody Rhodes, and I feel like for a long time WWE again wasn't really using AJ Styles to his full potential because he's AJ freaking Styles.
Yeah.
He could do way more than what they were having him do. And so recently we've sort of seen them, let him do his thing a little bit more. But I really do think that AJ Styles in AEW, like that would be the thing to freaking do. Can you imagine just like, again, AJ Styles, Jay White, Will Ospreay, who that was a guy that he's wrestled in the past before, like one time, several years ago, but he's somebody that, tried to persuade Will Ospreay to go to WWE. You got Okada there. You got so many freaking people that you're like, dude, if AJ Styles was in AEW, oh man. And I know that that Tony would pay a pretty penny for AJ.
Oh yeah. Hey, we're creating a time machine here. We're going back to mid 2010s New Japan here with all our picks that we're sending over to AEW minus Braun Strowman.
Minus Braun Strowman. Poor Braun Strowman's out here catching strays.
Not from me, from you.
It's funny. Braun Strowman is actually one of my most watched short videos here on this channel.
Yeah.
So nothing but respect to Braun Strowman. But hey, I said what I said.
But not to your face.
But not to your face.
Yeah. All right. I'm going to go in a different route. I feel like I don't want to take all the former world champions. Now I'm going to go with a bit of a selfish pick here. I just want to see this guy. And we don't get to see this guy in the WWE enough. And we have plenty of evidence to say that this man could go over to AEW and just have amazing matches. Do I think that he's going to go over there and become a world champion? No, not everyone is destined for that. But I just want to see him have amazing matches that I know he's capable of having, but they just won't let him have in WWE. Give me Cedric Alexander.
Oh my God, you gave the perfect description of my next pick. I'll just go ahead and say it. Ricochet.
Ah, okay, perfect.
Because literally,
we get to see Ricochet though. Cedric, we literally never see.
I mean, yeah, Cedric never gets to see, but Ricochet, he's also that guy that, God, it took forever. I mean, there was a point where like he was on like before he went to WWE, like he was being described as, one of the greatest wrestlers out there. And people thought all of these amazing things were going to happen for him. He goes to WWE, they treat him pretty much like a jobber. And it's only been until recently where he's sporadically, they would have him show out and show what Ricochet can do. But even recently, we finally got to see some good stuff with him and Logan Paul, some of the stuff, the work that he did, over on SmackDown and now on Raw. Just he's done a lot, but not to the level that I think people anticipated when he first signed with WWE. And I feel like right now, Ricochet, there are so many guys that are obviously established in AEW that he could work with, but primarily I would want to see him work with those younger guys. I would want to see him work with like Action Andretti. I would want to see him work with all those guys just to like really make some magic. Like him and Rey Fenix, him and Penta, hell, him and like all of these different people in AEW, I think would be so much freaking fun. And so for that reason, I'm going to go with Ricochet.
So
Not to steal your thunder on Cedric.
No, I do want to push back on the Ricochet piece because no one will ever say that Ricochet is not a 10 out of 10 performer in the ring. I think his ceiling is character and his promo ability. And I don't think that that's going to all of a sudden disappear if he were to go to AEW. I think that we'd be getting a lot of the same in AEW that we're getting in WWE, just more of the fantastic aspect of what he's good at, which is in-ring, in-ring prowess. The man is unbelievable, but I think it would still end in the same story with Ricochet is so good, but he can't get over the hump. I think it would end up in the same narrative over in AEW.
Right, versus Cedric. And it's funny because we're talking about Cedric, right? With him being so good, he was one of your picks.
Yeah.
He was your pick, excuse me. But it's gotten to the point where, again, like you said, we don't see him in WWE to the point where I don't even remember what Cedric can do. That's really sad. It's like, that's sad that I can't even remember. I'm like, oh yeah, I remember him being good, but
gave
that's
Braun Breaker his best squash match. that's the best way to describe it. Cedric should be in NXT, having banger matches with the young up and comers over there, or in AEW, because it is a criminal waste of talent with Cedric Alexander. Like I said, I don't think that he's going to become a world champion in AEW, but I do believe that he'd be used. I think that there is a place for him in AEW, whether it's appearing in Ring of Honor, Collision, maybe appearing on a Rampage here or there. Just imagine Cedric Alexander with all the guys from Mexico that AEW currently has with that partnership. They would just put on some classic matches.
I feel you, man. You know what? Two good picks right there with two guys that deserve just a little bit more. All right, your last and final pick.
I am between a couple of people.
Here's the thing. A woman, so
you're going with a woman. That's what I have here. I'm between two people. Look, I'm going to give you my pick, but I'm going to give you the honorable mention anyway, okay? Look, we're going to go. Yeah, I'm doing it.
Oh my God, I think I can tell based on who you're writing.
No, you can't. What is this power?
I can't. I was like, I see it.
Okay, who is it?
Is it Asuka?
It is what?
That's how I knew it. I could see you writing the K.
Oh, that is amazing. That's freaky. It's from the inflection of the K.
I saw you draw a stick in the little thing. I'm telling you.
But like, come on. Asuka's a great pick here, right?
Yes. So wait, now that you took Asuka, she was my pick too.
So if she's your pick, let me give you my other one.
Fine,
I'll give you the honorable mention. Let's give AEW a future potential asset. If they can use him right, I think that he could be a major megastar. I still feel like the WWE should pull the trigger much faster, but they just seem to not do it. Montez Ford.
Yeah, that's a good one. That's a good one.
He is there. We know, the people watching at home, we know he's a superstar in the making. And I think this might be one of those situations for WWE. If you don't use it, you lose it. And I don't know if AEW could grab that untapped potential and make him into a superstar, but it seems like WWE doesn't at the moment have any interest in doing it. So I'd like to see AEW at least give it a crack, give it a try with a singles Montez Ford.
I feel you, man. It feels like that's almost been like on the precipice of happening in WWE. And every time you think it's almost happening, it's like, no, booted. We got something else going on. And that's unfortunate because I think that Montez Ford, I felt like, when was it? I think it was in one of the show that he did with Bianca. I saw the previews and during the commercial breaks and in the trailer, the little preview of the show, there was like a conversation where he was talking about how like he wants to be a single star or like he wants to like, hit those levels and he just hasn't. And, obviously he's the biggest supporter of Bianca Belair, but, Bianca Belair is going out there and having like these crazy moments, being WrestleMania, having these big singles matches. And I'm pretty sure like there's a huge piece of Montez Ford who also wants to see what Montez Ford alone would look like and what he would be able to do. And it felt like, when was it? Was it the Elimination Chamber?
Chamber Montreal, yeah.
Yes. When they sort of teased it and like he kind of bulked up a little bit. Yeah. So everyone was thinking, oh, they're getting ready to do it. And then they just never did.
They just never do. So if you're not going to do it, let's let AEW take a crack at it. Do I think that they're going to knock it out of the park? Maybe not. But at least it's an attempt because we know that he's capable of it. We all know that he knows he's capable of it. he's just not getting the opportunity to be able to demonstrate it.
I feel ya. And the reason why I chose Asuka
Yeah.
was really because she is such a good wrestler, such a great wrestler, but they never seem to give her the treatment that they give to Charlotte or Becky or Bianca or any of the very, very top girls. They always treat her like a little bit, they always present her as a little bit less than. And I think that sucks because again, she's such a great wrestler that I would want to see more of that. Like treat her like a bigger deal is what I'm saying.
Yes.
And I do think that if she went over to AEW, oh my God, she would just elevate that women's division, and all the women that she would work there would just get. You need somebody like an Asuka that can help these younger girls that are a little bit greener get a little bit better, or even the girls that are already pretty established, like get them a little bit stronger with matches with people like Asuka. And so that's why I would go with Asuka to AEW.
No, I love the pick. I also, when I look at accomplishments, I think she's done it all in WWE. The only thing that she hasn't done is one at WrestleMania. The counter taker is what they've been calling her, because she just keeps losing at WrestleMania. Don't know why. Like, come on, let's have her win something there. Maybe in AEW she could go win it all in. That kind of count. But she's done it all in WWE. I think she's at the point in her career where it's, I think she could go somewhere else and do it all over there. And I would love to see some of the crazy possible matches. Imagine her and Mercedes running it back, her and Chris Statlander. I would love to see her and Thunder Rosa. Sheeta would be fantastic. Oof, there's just her and Timeless Tony Storm. Imagine the mist, but it's in black and white. Oh, come on.
There's a lot of money stuff that can be done there. But Santi, there you go. Those were our picks to WWE from WWE and vice versa, you name it. I gotta tell you, this video was so much freaking fun to do. Just getting how different our picks were. And I'm curious to see what names the people here watching, what you guys think, what names you would have switched if you had the opportunity to do so. Seriously, thank you so much for doing this video with me. Before we go, let the people know where they can support you, where they can watch your content and all of that.
For sure. If you're already on YouTube here, I'll make it real simple for you. Just in the search bar, look up Santi Zap. I'll come up. I do daily YouTube videos on there. We also do a weekly wrestling podcast called Wrestling is Cool. Thank you to The Rock for the free marketing, because we called it that before he started saying wrestling is cool. So that was nice. So if you're looking for additional wrestling content on top of what Denise is already providing you, go ahead and check out the YouTube channel.
The links are going to be in the description box below where you guys can check that out. I hope you guys had a good time with this video. If you want to watch more, I suggest you check out this collaboration that I did with Sean Ross Sapp, where we each pick our favorite match from every single WrestleMania. Plus, don't forget to subscribe to the channel for plenty more pro wrestling content. Catch you guys on the next one.